Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing really well. Now, despite having moved house, nothing has changed and I shall continue to apologise for the sun. It's one of those really sunny and then cloudy days, so the lighting will change throughout this video. I am very sorry, but as previously stated, I cannot control the sun. I have tried, we've had words, it's not going for it, guys. Today's video is going to be a part 2 of my little preparing for your exam / audition / recording / scary music performance thing. And it's going to be all about practically what you can be doing day to day to get yourself in the best possible place for that exam, scary thing, audition. I'm just going to call it exam from now on because otherwise it's going to get very confusing. If you are new to my channel, then my name is Heather and I'm a professional viola player living and working in the UK, and I make videos just all about music life and freelance life and all that kind of stuff. So if that sounds like your kind of thing, then please do hit that little subscribe button. Come and join the fun. It's a good time here. We have fun. Well, I mean, I have fun and then I presume other people have fun. Now, these 5 tips are in no particular order. I don't particularly think any one is desperately more important than the other, but I do think they are all super key. So tip number 1 is to get off that scale book as soon as you can. And this may seem like a little bit of a strange one to start with, but remember, you will not have that scale book on you for your exam, okay? It ain't gonna be there. Make sure that you get yourself off that book as soon as possible and get yourself really used to working out the keys for things, working out what sharps and flats it has, where are all the accidentals, all that kind of stuff. Get yourself used to doing that on a daily basis, because then in the exam, when they ask you a scale and it's a little bit like, you will have those tools available to you to quickly work out said key signature. And then you can just kind of go, right, okay, it's this, okay, it's got 3 sharps and those sharps, and okay, I'm good. You have those skills rather than just drawing a complete blank. And it's happened to us all, trust me. So arm yourself with as many tools as you possibly can, and then nothing will be able to faze you. I am going to do a whole video on how to practice scales because I appreciate that they are so often just that bugbear that people have. So again, if that sounds like something you want to see, then subscribe because I am going to be doing that pretty soon, I think. So tip number 2 is to practice your sight reading. And I know this can seem a little bit strange because it's like, how do I practice sight reading? But there are loads of ways that you can do it. Most exam boards do actually release a sight reading practice book for every grade that they do, so look out for that. And also, you can often get them secondhand on eBay and Amazon, places like that. But another really good way of doing it is if you're a few grades through, go back to your old grade books and pick one of the pieces that you didn't learn for your exam and play that instead. Just go about it in exactly the same way as you will for the little sight reading portion of your exam and practice it in that capacity. Use any old book that you have. It can be one of your beginner books. It can be, like I said, one of your old grade books. It can be just, type something into Google, pull up some music. They've got so many resources at your fingertips these days. And practice that skill of sight reading, because I can safely say, if you are somebody who's wanting to go into music as a profession, sight reading will be an absolutely fundamental necessity in your life. I am forever grateful for the amount of emphasis on sight reading that was put into my music training at a really early age, because it's the thing that is allowing me to do the career I do today. Tip number 3 is to write in a practice journal. Now, this is something that I've actually been doing for a little while now, and it is something that I find phenomenally useful. I'm a verbal processor. It's just how my brain works. I need to get my thoughts out of my brain somehow, and I either do that by talking to other people or by writing them down. So get yourself a journal, get yourself a notebook that you really like, get yourself some highlighters, a nice pen, make it an enjoyable process, whatever that looks like for you. And then at the end of each practice session, I just write down just a few thoughts on how it went, what I was happy with, what I wasn't quite so happy with, and then what do I want to be practicing next time? Or is there something that I really need to remember to look at because I didn't get to it today? Stuff like that. And I do want to say with this one is that watch other videos on how to do practice journals. There are loads of them out there. In fact, I've even done one, I think. If I have, I'll put it up here. I'm pretty sure I have. But also bear in mind that your brain is your brain and you can do whatever you want in your practice journal, okay? It can be as messy as you want, it can be as neat as you want, it can be as colourful as you want, it can be so monochrome as you want. Doesn't matter. As long as it works for you, don't worry about it. I just say that because I know that I knew that writing in a practice journal would be a really, really helpful tool for me for years, but I never did it because I was really intimidated by all these beautiful bullet journals where people had illustrated things and they'd drawn pictures, and it was just all the writing was beautiful and all of that. And whilst those are really, really satisfying, and if you are able to do that, then absolutely fantastic, but that's not my skill set. That is not my talent set. I got really put off from doing it for a really long time, and I really regret that because I think it's something that could have helped me massively, particularly when I was studying. Tip number 4 is to remember that it is all about quality over quantity. Now, we have all heard that person who's like, oh yes, I practice like 8 hours a day and I'm amazing and la 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 la. I mean, great, but I would argue that nobody can effectively practice for 8 hours a day, okay? Your brain will just go to mush. Good quality practice takes a huge amount of concentration, so just focus on doing small, bite-sized amounts and really focusing on what your goal is for that particular practice session. This also really links really well with the practice journaling, because then at the start of each practice session you can always go back to the day before or whenever the last time you practiced was and look at what you wrote at the end going, oh, I really need to practice my minor arpeggios today because I didn't get to them and I'm a bit worried about them. Right, I need to do that today. And it gives each of your practice sessions so much more of a focus. Another purpose of setting little goals throughout your practice session and making those really, like I said, quality focused goals is that we often kind of hope that we will rise to the occasion when it comes to performance, and so often that isn't actually the case. We often sort of regress to our default. So the purpose of each practice session is to bring that default setting higher. If you aim to practice smarter, not longer, this will also mean that it's so much less intimidating. Setting small little goals will mean that you actually overcome those little tricky areas in your piece much more quickly and much more easily than if you just go in and try and practice the whole piece in one day, okay? Focus on the little areas. Something I used to do is just literally write numbers into my music. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. Just split it up into sections, and then I'd be like, right, today I'm practicing section 5. And that is the section that I'm going to do, and I'm going to focus on that. It will just mean that you have so much more willpower to actually practice because it will be a much less daunting proposition. By quality over quantity, I also mean practice the tricky bits, which may sound very, very obvious, but we are all guilty of just playing through our piece and playing through our piece and playing through our piece and kind of stuffing over that really, really tricky bit, just kind of going like, yeah, it'll be fine. Come exam day, it's not going to be fine. Start with that little goal in mind of, right, I'm going to practice that tricky bit, I'm going to sort this thing out and I'm going to do it in this particular way, blah, 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 blah. And then you will find you actually progress so much faster and you'll find yourself a lot less frustrated in any given practice session. And then tip number 5 is to practice something every day. It is so much better to do 20 minutes of good, focused practice every day than it is to do 2 hours one day a week. So commit to playing your instrument every day. I often get asked, how much do you practice? And I always say it's always my goal to get my instrument out and play it every day. Even if all I do is warm up and then put it away again. That's fine. That consistency over time will be the thing that really pays off for you. And that is it for this video. I hope you have really, really enjoyed it. Obviously, I'm trying to keep these videos pretty short and sweet and bite-sized. So if there are anything in these videos that you want a bit more information about, or you just want me to go into a little bit more detail, please do either comment it below or message me on Instagram. I'll put my handle here and just, send me a message. I will always reply to you. Even if it takes me a few days, I promise I will get back to you. And I'm more than happy to discuss any of these things in more detail. But like I said, I'm also more than happy to make a video on basically anything that you guys want to know about. I hope you guys have a really amazing week. I shall be doing part 3 in my little series next week, so please do come back and join me for that, and I will see you guys then. Have a wonderful time, have a great weekend, try not to drown if you currently live in the UK because the weather is terrible, and I will see you guys very, very soon. Bye bye.